Hey guys, what's happening? This is Desi Beats with yours truly, DJ Reminisce, and I'm really excited today. Absolutely excited because I got one of my favorite Canadian artists that I get to talk about his life, his struggles, the music. Please welcome, guys, to Desi Beats, the Prophecy.
Well, everyone, thanks for having me, man. Good to catch up after so long, bro.
Yeah, man, it's been a while. What has it been 5 years since we've toured?
Yeah, man, it's been crazy, and even I think I come to Vancouver so many times, and it's like, yo, we gotta meet up, and then it's just always like quick. We miss each other every time, so it's really good to see you, man.
Well, on Superstar, you come in for like 2 hours, fly out on your private jet and stuff. You know what I'm saying? You know what? I'm really looking forward to this. Just like I know people ask you this all the time. Let's get the formality bullshit out of the way first. But I mean, I've known you for a while, but kind of there's a lot of people that watch the show that want to get in the game or are struggling, and kind of like, how did you start, and like what was your sort of basis? Because I know you make your own beats. You also write your own stuff too, correct? So when you started, what was it first? Like, what was it? The love of music? Were you DJing? Like, so many people start in so many different ways. Can you kind of explain how you got in the game?
Yeah, so like I was classically trained in singing since I was about 5. And so I'd always like grown up listening to like Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan Saab, Durga Rangila, Savar Koti, Hansraj, stuff like that. But then like for a bit I kind of ventured away from that and started doing hip hop and just getting really into hip hop, like underground hip hop, like anything to do with it. And then after a while I came back, but like my voice had kind of lost its touch. But I didn't really care about that. Like I just kind of got into the studio, started making beats, made a song, and it was called Sony. And I just kind of sent it to my friends, and then somehow like some people sent it to Vancouver, some people sent it to California, and then from there people are like, yo, this guy's a singer. And then I became a singer, and I didn't even know how because I just made this thing in my basement, and then from there it kind of took off.
Yeah, it's funny because I was on Red FM at the time.
Yeah.
And then I heard the song, and I was like, wow, this is a poppin' record. And then when I met you and I put two and two together, you get that the initial weirdness. It's like, well, that's you. Yeah, wow, man. How is your bro, the rapper, Deep, right?
Yeah, he's good, man. He's married now, or so. Kind of relaxing. He's just working and stuff, but yeah, he's doing good.
That's cool, man. So how was the family support for you? Like a lot of us, when we started out, it was 0 to about a little tiny bit. But how was your family in terms of what you want to do?
My dad's always wanted me to become a singer. Like he doesn't even care if he missed school or whatever. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And my mom is more like, you got to finish school and you got to do this and this. So, but I mean, both of their support, like it's helped me. Like my dad's helped me with like the creative side, and my mom's kind of helped me develop a business side of things that if I want to be independent, I got to run a label, I got to go to school, I got to learn these things. So before I did it, I used to like, me and my mom always used to get in arguments because I was like, I just want to make music. But like, when you go older, you like understand, you're like, holy shit, like I need this stuff too.
At what point, like I'm sure your mom's, totally changed now. At what point was it, like, what was the groundbreaking moment? Your mom's like, you know what, son, you're dope. Like, I'm gonna lay off. Like, was there a moment, or was it a gradual thing?
It was last year mostly. Like when I started touring a lot, and like when you start kind of making a living off of it, then she's like, oh, like parents are just scared that that their kids aren't gonna do anything. They're gonna just sit at home, and you know what I mean. And once she started seeing a bit of the financial side taking off, then she's like, okay, like you could do this. And she's more of like a Bhangra DJ type of person, and my songs are the complete opposite. So she's like, "Bas tol pa de, thoda pa de, da tum bhi pa de, da sarangi pa de," and I was like, it's a bit hard for me to do that. Where my dad is like, just be creative and do something different.
You know what? I gotta thank you enough. Like, like I said, I'm a big fan of your music. I really love your doing, and it's because I love the R&B flavor to it.
Okay.
You're gonna hear Tol and Tumbi all day, every day of the week, right? And no, it's really refreshing. And what are your influences? Like, who are your sort of like producers, singers? Who are your influences for that sound?
Just everything. I used to watch like a lot of Bollywood movies, and like a lot of my melodies, like they really came from like that '90s era of Bollywood. And then I guess the rawness really came from that hip hop. Like when I took like I used to listen to like semi underground, like Royce the 5'9" a lot, like a lot of East Coast, like
Yeah.
Talib Kweli, Mos Def, stuff like that. And I know you guys are from Vancouver and you guys have the whole West Coast, like, you know, RNG and all that stuff. But I was never like too much like into that. I still listen to it, but for me it was like just like the East Coast smooth hip hop sound. And then
Yeah,
it kind of,
yeah, I totally agree with you. That East Coast vibe was straight ballads and love
yeah.
records and party records. I totally agree with you there.
Mhm.
That's cool, man. I mean, were you ever influenced by P Diddy at all, or?
A little bit. I was in the stage where like I hated commercial hip hop. Like I hated 50 Cent so much, and every time I was in like grade 7 or 8, and I was like, no man, that's too commercial. That's too like I hate that stuff. I only listen to real music. But then like when you get into the industry, you appreciate commercial stuff more, and when you start like especially like mixing your own songs, you appreciate the work that goes into mixing a commercial record and then an underground record as well.
So what are you vibing to right now? Like if I was to say Prophecy hand me over your iPod, like what's your what's Prophecy listen to right now for influence or whatever best records or stuff you?
I started listening to Kendrick, obviously. It's a cool album. Like it's really, really
Yeah.
good to listen to. I'm more about arrangement. I've been listening to it's a bit old, but James Font Leroy, Cocaine 80s. That's a really good mixtape. He like writes all Justin Timberlake stuff, so I like to listen to that. Punjabi music, like I've been kind of getting back into. Actually, I've been listening to Nashatar Gill a lot from like 2008. Those songs were mixed really nice, so I like to bring out like the Desi side and see what happens. But yeah, Senti songs. I'm always listening to Senti songs.
Oh,
Like
I mean, you can. I mean, it rubs off. You can tell on your music and stuff. And you know what the cool thing about like why I want to interview you because you're a gearhead like me.
yeah,
I know one of your projects. Remember you messaged me about what to put on the master bus and stuff like that. Now I think that was a great conversation we had. So I mean, are you still rocking Pro Tools?
hmm yeah. Pro Tools. I've upgraded like I think the first thing I started doing when I got like about a year ago when I was just touring and stuff was I invested crazy like into my mic, my preamp, obviously the Avalon, and yeah, I got Pro Tools, I got Reason. Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm rocking.
So your synth sounds is it mainly Reason or you got some other you
There's a Reason, but like I've been making my own synths now for like the last 4 or 5 months. Like I'll just start from scratch, like start from the sine wave and then just see where it goes.
Yeah, man, I gotta give you props because your melodic chords and stuff that you play are unreal.
Thank
Honestly,
you.
they're really good. Yeah. What are your and your vocals? How do you, dude? I love I love the rawness of your vocals. They're not dry, but like I love the compression on them, and I love how you like. Can you kind of give me your secrets? Like,
Um,
what's your?
like at the beginning, like I had no idea what I was doing. Like I would put like literally just a basic Pro Tools compressor on my voice because like even forever, like it was okay. Like I think the album really took off because of the melodies and the songwriting, less about the technical side.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
for sure.
and then Dream Room, like Dream Room, I got a lot of help. Like me and Mickey were in the studio. Like he helped me a lot with mixing, and then I was working with this guy Amir in Metropolis, and he worked on Rihanna's album, and he really helped me like find what vocal chain works the best. So I'm still like a Waves person. I use Waves a lot. It's just so easy. It's so simple. People are like, oh, it looks so ghetto, but like this does the job so well. And so I use like RVox, R compressor now, and I still like to leave my vocals open because like I feel like there should be some like it should be the same when people hear me live or people hear me in the studio. It shouldn't be so compressed that people are like, "Who is this guy?" when it's sing live. So
Yeah, and you know what? It's funny you mention that because there is like when you hear records and it's a night and day difference, right? That's what I like about the stuff you do. Your hip hop influence, your R&B influence. It's because what they sing is what you hear when you do live, right? Totally.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No. What was I gonna say? Let's talk about your collaborations.
Yeah.
One of my favorite personal records of yours is the one you did with Bikram Singh. Johnny, can you kind of talk through the process? Like, what was it? Did you come up with the hook verse, and then how did the Bikram thing come up? Because that record is unreal.
Yeah, man. I mean, he hit me up. That was just right after I released my first album, and he was cool, man. Like, I mean, I listened to Kama probably like religiously at one point in my life. Like, that song probably like got me through high school. So when he hit me up, it was just really nice that he enjoyed my music. And I actually had this instrumental laying around. I didn't release it because it kind of sounded similar to like the Forever sound. So I was like, I didn't really do anything with it. And I wrote a hook, and then he kind of rewrote the hook. And then from there, we just kind of did it. And it was still like a time where I didn't know much about mixing too. Yeah, I was doing a song with like Bikram saying I was sending stuff to like Raj, and like he was like, because Tiger Style's obviously more experienced than I am, and like at this point, like they're like, no, you need to do this, you need to do this. So for me, it was like a learning experience. Like, oh shit, what do I do now? Like, literally like people that I look up to, and I have no idea what to do with this vocal. I don't know like what to do. So it's another song that was just like, when the vibe is so strong that like things just come naturally. Like, when you can mix a song down like in an hour, and then you're like, holy shit, like it actually sounds good. It's like one of those situations.
Yeah, no, man. Let's get on. It was good, like from finish to end. So did you end up mixing that record then, or was that done by Tiger Style or
I mixed it and they mastered it.
Okay, yeah, no, it's a great record. What was it like working with Mickey Singh? I mean, that guy's probably one of the hottest artists right now.
Yeah,
Girls go crazy. They're like throwing their, kaching at him and stuff like that. Like, what was it like? Is he, work as a person, as, the vibe? Like, what was it like?
Yeah, like me and him are like that's like my brother. Like he hit me up probably in like 2012 as well, and he's like, let's do something together. And then he just happened to be in Calgary one night, and then I think the night that he came over is like the night we made Duk. We made like 5 6 songs. Like there's some people like you have such an energy that you just don't want to stop working. Like we were working till like 6 a.m. and just like as a person, like obviously we have fun time. Like it's just good time with that guy.
No, that's cool, man. It's nice hearing this kind of stuff because it's like watching something on like BET right now. It's like, yeah, I worked till 6 in the morning. He came over, we'd rock, did like 5 songs and stuff. So
it's like I also want to say like with North America, it's really different. That I feel like we're really different as that we all get along. Like I haven't met one person like, you know what I mean? Whether it's like me, Culture Shock, Mickey. I was just with like Too Nice last week in New Jersey, and like it's just really cool that we all get along and we all have our sounds. You know what I mean? Like I have my sound, Mickey has his, and even like Sunny Brown guys, like they have their own thing and they're all doing their own thing. But as a collective, we work together.
How you've toured pretty much in all the major cities now. What's your take on the industry here in Canada? And I want to be real, man. Like you can be straight up and be honest, because I've got my views, and people, I've made it clear. I mean, you're on my Twitter, right? You see me rant and rave. So I mean, you've toured. You got a totally different perspective than probably what I do now. Like, what's your take?
It's like for me, obviously, it's good. Like I like the direction that we're going in. Is that like, say if I'm in a certain city, like I go to Toronto, right? I've done a few shows there, and it's just so open, like, you know what I mean? Like, I could call people in Toronto and go chill. Like, I don't really see a divide. Whereas when I've toured in UK, it's been kind of different. Whereas just, like, this person doesn't get along with that person, you know what I mean? It's just, like, it just doesn't make sense to me. I even found it in Punjab, too, when I went, like, to Jalandhar, Chandigarh. Like, some people will be chilling with me, then they're like, we can't do anything because we got to go to that person. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just I don't understand it. Like I've always been a bit disconnected. Like I'm not a person that, like I'm an introvert person, so I don't like to go out party this and that. But just from what I've seen is that there are divides, and there's probably divides in like I'm sure there's divides in the Vancouver market and the Toronto market, but I mean I haven't really seen too much of that.
Yeah, I mean there's divides, but I find here, like I don't know what's like in Calgary. I'm assuming it's the same just because we're the West Coast. The West Coast is very laid back, and they're
Yeah,
very kind of late to hit the fashions of what's hot music, whether it's gigging or whether it's, you know what I mean. Like I mean, to be honest, it's getting better,
yeah.
but it's not like when you go to Toronto. Like you go to Toronto, you do this gig, there's 800 to 1,000 people, no problem,
Yeah.
right? So I mean, here it's getting there, but you know what? I don't know if you've seen the show or not, but a part of the show, what I have is the segments called the Full Cheap Ones.
Yeah.
Basically, what it is just, you know, a moment in time, whether you're touring or when you're studio, something funny that you'll never forget. There's like, oh man, what a cheap one. Like, you know, it could be you know, singing on stage, you fell off. Like, if you can enlighten the crowd, because you know, Canada
Wow.
loves you, bro.
What is I'm thinking of like a parental family friendly one.
Sure. You know, this is your dude. This is your show. You can say whatever you want, man. So.
Um, it's hard. It's hard to think. I mean, there's so many moments that are coming by. Um, yeah, I mean, I did this show in. Actually, I can tell you about the Queen show.
Okay.
I did a show in Queens in December, and apparently every year it's gotten shut down. Like the show gets shut down before the artist even goes on. And so everyone when I got there, they're like, the show's gonna get shut down. Like, and I was like, no, 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 like it's gonna be better this time. So I actually got to perform, and then within 2 minutes, everything got shut down.
Wow.
Like fights, and I think the show sold out. So like there was just fights happening in front of me, but then there was like people that wanted me to sing, and it was just like so crazy. Like I had to get like I'm so light, right? Like so I got like this security guy like, taking me out, and like it was just insane. And then there was like people like rushing to take pictures. There's like people coming to fight. Like it was just crazy, but. Yeah.
Man, where's your GoPro in those moments? You had the GoPro going on.
I wanted to pull out Snapchat and stuff, but it was just too crazy. I can't even pull my phone out.
That's crazy, man. What's sort of like what's happening with Prophecy now at the moment? I know you've done that last record. Great. There's some great records on that, man. I play it all the time on the show. Anything, you know, we should be watching out for, or, you know?
I'm starting work on the next album, and then just before that, a lot of singles. Like I'm doing a lot of collaborations, production projects. Yeah, collaborations. I got this guy Gary J. Me and him are gonna come out with a really, really good love song. Me and Guru are working on something, and then some big like I got a big collab. I can't announce it, but it's gonna be this summer, and that's and then hopefully by the end of the year we'll be venturing into like Bollywood and stuff too. So
that's cool, man.
Ask for that, yeah.
Yeah, is that your eventual, like, what's your eventual goal gonna be? Like, you wanna get into Bollywood, or is that just something that's just, you know, it's gonna fall into place, or?
Yeah, I mean things are gonna fall into place. I mean my 5-year goal is that like I want to continue doing what I do. Like I want to make good music, and like I think you've seen like my videos and stuff. I'm less of the guy on the camera. I'm more of the guy that like just sits in the studio for like 30 hours and bangs out tracks.
Yeah.
So I think like 5-10 years down the road, if I could just do that, like I'll be happy. Like that's kind of why I'm like launching Rashi Sood and stuff like that. Is that if I could like in 10 years be like the Dr. Dre and just like launch my own artist and kind of build someone up, like, you know, I just be the person behind the scenes. Like I'd be cool with that.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? That's actually it makes sense. It's a natural progression for you. You know what I mean? Yeah, no, that's cool. Talked about the collaborations. Your new studio. I've got the Avalon too, by the way, bro. I've got the Avalon as well. Great pre. Right, great pre. Yeah, no. So there's a lot of people that want to get in the game that watch this show. Mm-hmm. Any words of, you know, like real advice, or, you know, something you can give them to, you know, kind of, you know, maybe something to watch out for, or, you know, the struggles you went through, or, you know, just some advice, because, you know how it is, man. The biggest problem I have with our industry is we paint it as a perfect picture that anyone can come and be a star, and you know that's not true, man. I mean, it took you probably 7-8 years to get to the point where you are now.
Exactly. Yeah. Like what I could say for people is that you have to set yourself apart from the beginning, and that doesn't come by like finding a hot song and like trying to mimic it. It comes with like doing what you do. You know what I mean? I mean, like when I speak about myself, like I'm not a person that's gonna do every type of track. You know what I mean? Like you have to have a brand, and like for me, like I didn't even know what my brand was for like the first 2 years. But when you kind of see what people are saying about you, that becomes your brand. Like I didn't know I was a Senti singer or whatever, but now like that's, I'm happy to be that. Like at least people know when they hear Senti, they think about prophecy. You know what I mean? It's not like half these singers where like they're like ਹਾਂਜੀ album ਤੇ sad ਗੀਤ ਵੀ ਹੈਗਾ ਆ ਭੰਗੜੇ ਵਾਲਾ ਗੀਤ ਵੀ ਹੈਗਾ ਆ ਤੇ ਆਪਾ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਆਹ ਲਿਖਿਆ. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't make any sense. How's the person supposed to know who they're listening to? You know what I mean? Like because anyone can do a bhangra song, anyone could do a sad song, but it's like you have to do it from the heart and you have to make it real, like, and you have to accept that. You can't just be like, I've had times in my career where I've been like, yo, like EDM is so hot right now. I got to do an EDM record. Like, you know what I mean? Every artist goes through that, but you got to be like, no, like I want to make something that I'm proud of, that, I put my heart into, not something that, oh, this is going to be hot for the next month, and then the next artist is going to come through, and then, you know what I mean? You just forgotten. And like, especially the Punjabi industry now, it's a lot about talk and less about making a profit. You know what I mean? Like there's people with like 2 million hits that no one even knows about in 6 months. So it's just like, what is the point of all these followers? What's the point of all these hits? What's the point of all of this stuff if it's not making you any sort of income? You know what I mean? You're still doing free shows. You're still doing, especially it happens a lot in Punjab where like half of these people, like there's so many singers. There's a new singer every hour. And these singers somehow get 500,000 hits, million hits, 2 million, 3 million hits. You know what I mean? And then they're like, Hanji Paji, mere kol inne hit ya. But what does it translate into? So that's what you really got to focus on, is that, yeah, hits are cool. Like, you know what I mean? When I got 100,000 fans, I was proud of what I did. And when I got a million hits, I'm proud of what I did. But if that isn't translating into tours, if that's not translating into income, publishing, then what's the point? And so I think that's the direction our industry needs to go in. Not as the companies are making a lot of money, but as artists, the artists have to understand the business, the artists have to understand that what's in it in the long term for them.
That's a great point. And while I've got you on here, like, yeah. Say someone like me's got 500,000 hits. So what do I need to do to get, like you're talking about the business side of things, right? And how to translate that into shows and whatever. Can you give some sort of, like a quick thing, like how do I translate that into, because this is the number one question I get is like, yeah, I can sing, bro. Yeah, I know you can sing, but, but how do I market myself? And, I know that's a different question depending on, who you are as an artist, but just in general, like how did you, as Prophecy, went from like, producing in your studio, doing stuff in the West Coast, from Canada all the way to the US, USA to international. Well, how did you do that?
Like for me, it's a bit different because like, I didn't know. Like, I literally, you watch my first videos, like I had no idea what I'm doing on the camera. I had no idea like for be like even still, right? Like I'm very, I'm not like an outgoing person. So for me, it was a bit different. But like what I can say is that it's just the branding. It all comes down to the brand, right? Like you have to accept who you are. You have to accept what people label you as. And I think that's like a big problem that Desis have, is that whenever they get a criticism, they'll delete the comments, or they'll do this, they'll be like, oh, people think I'm this, but it's like you gotta accept everything. Like no matter how it comes, you gotta accept the good, the bad, the ugly, and you gotta build it into your brand and kind of go forward with that. So, it's not like one single thing. Obviously, like you could take an intro marketing class and say, yeah, I gotta have a logo, I gotta have this, I gotta have that. Those are the basics. But at the main thing is the brand. It has to be consistent and it has to be who you are. You can't just pretend that aaj main P Diddy banna hai, kalu main Biggie banna hai. You know what I mean? You gotta be like
Yeah, no, you know what? The reason why I wanted you to kind of elaborate on that is because it's true, man. It's consistency and consistency, because I find that too. Like even while I was DJing and doing my thing, like if we weren't doing something consistently, you just get lost in all the garbage, right?
Yeah.
And that's one thing I give you credit for being a Canadian artist is you've been consistent. Like I'm a big fan of the Bills, but you know, like there hasn't been anything in the last 2 years, right?
I mean, like that's different too, right? Because what happens, like I've seen a lot, is that it's not their fault, right? Like people sign into all these shady contracts where they can't release music for a year and then they're literally stuck. And then you have someone like Jay Sean that has to release the Mistress mixtape just to like prove to himself, prove to his fans that he's still there. So I mean, it's always different, like situation. It's not like it's difficult, but at the same time, like I don't know, like for me, it's never been that difficult to like be consistent or make music because like I just go here, ekpeg laleda, and you know what I mean. It's just like you make something from the heart, and it's not like it's not rocket science to me. That's why it's very hard for me to explain, because for me everything is so organic. Like I don't force anything. I don't say that shit. I gotta make a dance record by tomorrow. I just say I gotta make 10 records and then I gotta see which one's the best and release it.
Yeah, no, and you know what? The whole thing I'm trying to get across to people, it's that mindset that you have, right? You have a mindset, you've got a certain, you know, you got your goals, you got the culture inside you, so, and that's what I try to beat into people. It's like, yeah, you know what, you could be the best DJ in the world, but if you don't have it inside, if you, like, no one can, so you're a motivated person, is my point, right? And that's something you can't teach and you can't give. So,
Yeah.
you know what, I got to give you props for that. You know what, man, I really appreciate the time you took out.
Nah, man.
It's a long time coming. Like I said, like you know, especially you being a gearhead, you know, we're on the same wavelength in terms of gear and stuff. So, yeah, man, I really appreciate it. Thanks for taking the time. Any last words, you know, for your fans, and you know, where can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, last words, just thank you, like, once again, like, all of this is all because of you guys, like, you know, I'm nothing without, like, the people that even supported me back in 2010 to, like, now, like, I just thank you, and once again, thank you, even for having me and allowing me to, like, pour my heart out for, like, the last 20, 30 minutes, so, and catch me on Twitter, Facebook, I mean, The Prophecy, I'm sure we'll share it on social media, so you guys can get it from there.
Cool, bro. Really appreciate it, man. We'll look forward to new music. You take care, bro.
You take care, dude, man.